Hi, I'm Danelle, and on this channel I'm documenting the process of moving out of a house that we've lived in for 30 years and out of a small community on an island in Southeast Alaska where we've lived all that time. I actually moved to Ketchikan in 1981. I got here when I lived on a sailboat with my family as a teenager. We had lived on the boat for about 5 years, and my dad always dreamed of sailing to Alaska, and that's exactly what we did. And we got to the first city in Alaska before we were stormed in, and we were stormed in and stuck here for so long. We made friends, and everything went from there. And I went to college for a few years, so we would come and work seasonally through the 80s and 90s. I met my husband here. And we have since divorced in 2018, so now I'm single. And we moved back here in 1995 when our first child was born. So we've raised 3 kids in this house. My ex-husband built this house. And now I'm going through the process of trying to sort and clean out 30 years of accumulation. I'm not a terrible hoarder, except of sentimental items, and that's what I wanted to address today, was the difficulty of the sentimental items. The sorting out just the regular things, I don't know, paperwork and, getting rid of extra knickknacks and kitchen items and things, that isn't terribly hard. I'm just starting the process though. But sorting through, I'm in my youngest son's bathroom, but my 2 sons still live with me. One is 20 years old, the other son is 30 years old, and they are also planning to move. We're hoping to end up down in Washington State. But being on an island, that gives us an extra challenge because my plan is to take our little RV with my 3 border collies and get onto the ferry. That's about an almost 3-day trip down to Bellingham, Washington. And then the rest of our household items, we will probably put in a big shipping container and put it on a barge, which will be then taken by tugboat down to Seattle. So that's the preliminary plan. When you live on a remote island in Alaska, it just adds a little bit of complication to moving. So these are the kind of things I keep finding that are slowing down my process. This is a Mother's Day card that I found that my kids made for me years ago. My youngest made this card for me. Do you throw this away? Do you take a photo of it and then throw it away? I have boxes of those. The reason I'm in my son's bathroom is that in this strange storage area, my ex-husband had cut this out so that years ago we had a cat that would access it to get to his litter box. It used to have a bigger piece, and then there was a small cat-sized piece that he could hole that was there that he could get in there. But now it's used as a storage area, and I'm starting with these storage areas. They're under our eaves because these are going to be the toughest ones to clean out. So I'm trying to tackle them first. They are full of sentimental items like Mother's Day cards. Here's a self-portrait my daughter did of herself when she was about 9 years old. I keep finding things like this. My dad passed away about 10 years ago, and my dad lived on the sailboat a lot longer than I did. When the rest of the family moved off, he and my mom split up. He lived on the boat for like another 15 years. And when he passed away, my stepmom gave me his sailboat logbook. It has weather data. It has notes on going through some of the locks and dams in the rivers. Actually, now that I look at this is from when I lived on the boat. When we put our boat in we were living in eastern Washington. We had a 30-foot sailboat that we moved onto, and we put it in the water at Lewiston, Idaho. We sailed down the Snake River, went through all those locks and dams. We went through the Columbia River, more locks and dams. And then we sailed up the Washington coast to Seattle, where we were based for most of the time that we lived on this sailboat, actually. And we moved on there in 1977. So now that I open this book, see, this is why it's going to take me so long to pack up and move. And this book, this one is from our second sailboat called the Owyhee. It was a 36-foot cow. And pretty small for a family of 5. It was me, and I was the oldest, and my 4-year-old brother, and my 10-year-old sister. I think she was 10 when we moved on the boat. Yes, I was 14, she was 10, and my little brother was only 4. So this is just telling, it gives our bearings for each voyage we took and any challenges we had and what we did. This is from April 1978. And has all, and I see my own handwriting in here. It says, I filled the water. It was too hot out, so we were anchoring again. I'm not sure what it was too hot for. So this is just a very interesting, just documentation from my own childhood, my teenagerhood. We were, looks like we went to Vancouver Island. Some notes about just me and my sister doing the dishes. And my mom's entries here. My mom lives down in near eastern Washington in northern Idaho now. And she is one of the reasons I want to relocate, is because she moved away from Ketchikan probably 20 years ago at least. And I miss her, and it's really expensive and tough to travel anywhere when you live here on this island. It's very expensive. It's time consuming. So I don't get to see her more than once a year, sometimes every other year. So I would love to be able to see her more often. And if you live down on a road system, we are the only town on this island. There is nowhere else you can drive. If you're on the road system, even if you live in Washington or Oregon, I could drive up to see my mom. But here's a whole bunch of her notes about where we went and what happened. So I think I'm going to keep this. I don't think this is something I want to leave behind. The sentimental things are the tough things. You know, I really want to be minimalist and not bring everything, but it's tough to let go of some of these things. This is another thing I found yesterday when I was cleaning out another storage area, and in about year 2000, I wrote a novel, and it starred a search and rescue dog handler here in Southeast Alaska. I was a search and rescue dog handler for 30 years. I just last month finally retired from that. So I based the character on my knowledge and experiences as a search and rescue handler. And this binder that I found, I wrote the novel. I sent it off to several publishers. Not enough though. What I also found sadly, was a stack of rejection letters from agents and publishers. So that was interesting. I'll probably happily throw these away. And I also found all of my planning that I had done I have cards that I had written all the plot lines and the character information and notes. And on the front is kind of a bubble plot of the plot and the characters and what happens. So I don't know if I want to get rid of this either. I might pull it out of the binder so it's at least not so bulky. I also have a partially written sequel to this novel. So I don't know, maybe when I have more time and I'm fully retired, I am a newspaper reporter now as a job. So now, this many years later, now that I've had the experience of being a professional writer, I might tackle the novel again. Who knows? Maybe I'll have more luck with the agents. And so that was, here's more writing notes. I found, I also had a dog training business for years. I found all the paperwork back when people would sign up on just paper and pen. So I found all of those files yesterday. And in this particular closet, also difficult to know what to do with, I have a degree in fine arts in painting, so I have old paintings from college, my college days. This is a wrinkled up old painting of my Nobody can even see it. We're just too close up. But it's a wrinkled up old oil painting that I did of my apartment. I have a giant horse, way too big to unfold in here. It's about 5 feet wide. Another still life. And then I have boxes and boxes of old letters. And another thing that I have, speaking of my paintings, I'm probably going to have to take photos of these paintings and then toss them, I'm guessing. They're pretty old and they're kind of damaged from being, they moved up here with us from Oregon back in 1995, and they're still here. They've been rumpled up in this storage area for 30 years. So, and I really don't need them. I'm still making oil paintings, and that's another thing that I do not know what to do with. If you guys have any ideas of what to do about these, let me know. Here, I'm going to show you. So these are my more recent oil paintings that have been done in the last 10 years or so. I have these really large ones that were in exhibits that didn't sell, partly I think because they are so large. I have some just smaller ones that were never in exhibits, but they just sit around. Some of these, you can't see the actual painting. I'll find pictures of these so you can see them. They're sitting face out to keep them protected. But some of these, and I have some on the walls downstairs too. They're about 5 feet by 6 feet in size. So difficult to transport, extremely heavy. I don't know what I should do with those. I could try to sell them again, but it is difficult to sell paintings that are that size. Okay, so beside all that, I wanted to show you my plan. I've been using a binder with just pen and paper to make kind of a plan so that I don't feel so overwhelmed, because I just have so much of this kind of stuff to sort through, and I just didn't even know where to start. We have several of these storage areas that are under our house's eaves, and so I only want to tackle one at a time. There's a storage area over here where my son has all his stuff completely across the doors, so I'm going to have to wait for him to move some of his things. So there's some things I can't sort because they belong to my sons. Some of the things we have are my ex-husband's. When he moved out, he moved out. He left a lot of stuff here, so it's going to take all of us together to make this happen. So let me show you the binder that I have. Okay, so here is sort of my very rough initial plan. I did it initially month by month. I want to have everything done by September, so I put each month down and then which area I would take care of or clean out in each week. I am seeing that it might not be as simple and clean as that, because not all of everything belongs to me, and some of it's my ex-husband's, some of it belongs to my sons, but I'm going to do my best. We'll make some piles. I'll get people here to clean out the things that are theirs. So I just put each area. Here we are in my son Isaac's room. This is week 1. And so there's the eave storage that I was just showing you. There are there are 4 areas here. So I've actually adjusted this one because I added my closet here, but I'm going to do all 4 in this room this month. And then I just did 4 weeks for each month. We have more eave storage where our holiday things are. That's going to be, there's not too much of the difficult sentimental things in that storage area. So I know some of these are going to be easier than others. The studio, that's my art studio where I paint. Our craft area, that's not, we don't have any really sentimental things there. That should be pretty quick. And then every week I wrote a note that we make a trash haul, we make a thrift store haul, and I'm going to also have an area where we store items for a garage sale, which I have scheduled for August, moving sale. So each month I have different tasks so I could at least wrap my head around this and make it a little simpler. I think if you're more techie, that you could do something like this on a spreadsheet or an app. I don't really like typing on my phone. I am not great with spreadsheets. I am kind of a pen and paper person, even though I do write for the newspaper on my computer every day. And then here I just have a general to-do list that I tried to kind of organize it by month. My RV needs some work done on it. The taillights haven't been working for quite a long time. And then just different tasks for each month. And then I put down here sort of motivational things, fun things that I could do when I moved. To just, if things start getting too hard, I can think about some of the fun things I want to do. I love monster truck shows. That's a silly one, but I could see one of those when I'm down there. And county fairs, things we don't have here. Fresh produce. Wouldn't it be nice to get raspberries, fresh raspberries that don't start molding in 1 or 2 days? That would something that's difficult to find here in Ketchikan. I'd like to take some sheep herding classes with my border collies. And I wrote making new art. So I make a lot of art outdoors here in Ketchikan. I actually have an art channel at Danelle Kelly Art on YouTube. And you can see I make a lot of art out in the trails. So if I'm in a new area, I get to have a lot of new subjects, new types of trees, new things to see. So that would be exciting and motivating. And mountain biking. I would love to have real mountain biking. This is not a good mountain biking area. We hardly have any decent trails for mountain biking. A lot of our trails have boardwalks and stairs that aren't good for mountain biking and are 13 feet of rain a year. It doesn't make biking super fun either. And then I just have ideas for getting rid of things. Maybe make an eBay site where we could sell things. I'm just kind of jotting down costs when I'm on the road with the RV. Just trying to get an idea of my whole plan. And then today I made a whole section for each storage area that I'm going to be cleaning out because we don't have room to just pull things out and leave them out while we're going through this 9-month process. So I'll sort and then I'll put things back in that area that we are keeping or that we're going to have in the garage sale. And I left room here to make notes. What's in there that we're keeping? What's in there that we are selling? I also talked to a friend today who lived in Ketchikan for as long as I have, and he ran a very successful auto shop business here. And he just moved less than a year ago from Ketchikan to Washington. So I actually called him up and asked for his advice. What was it like? What is his advice? Should we put things on the barge? Should we get a U-Haul and take everything on the ferry? So that was really interesting. He put a U-Haul on the ferry instead of putting a container on the barge. So that's an interesting option. It gives us something to think about. He also gave me his thoughts on working with a realtor and gave me a recommendation for a really good realtor he worked with here. So those are my thoughts. That's the process so far. I think if I had any tips for you, if you are thinking of moving so far, it's really helped my mindset anyway to just sit down and organize all the work that I have to do into little doable chunks. Another tip would be reach out and ask for help. It really was encouraging to talk with my friend Mark today. Made me feel like we can do it. This is doable. It's not an impossible task. And my other tip would be watch out for the sentimental items that really slow you down. It's wonderful to revisit some of these sentimental things. I love seeing my kids' old artwork and stumbling across old letters and even my old novel. But it will slow you down. So I think that tip would just be start, if you can possibly start earlier than you think is even reasonable. I think even 9 months is the minimum. Anyway, thanks for visiting here. I'd love to hear your ideas, your advice, anything that you can tell me. It's really good to have you here. Take care.